Hey, everybody, this is Carl White, broadcasting from the secret headquarters here at the Mortgage Marketing Animals. And you're listening to Loan Officer Freedom, #1 podcast in the world today. But I have to put that little caveat in there for loan officers, and all because you knew that someday I would be interviewing the infamous Miss Leslie Girard. Leslie, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
So you're listening to the right topic, or you're listening to the right episode if you want to learn how to, let's see, how can I say this? If you want to learn how to get even more results from your team. Let's just kind of, we'll see if that holds true. Is that a fair description of what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, I think it's inspiring your team.
Okay, good word. All right. So first of all, give us a little bit of lay of the land here, Leslie. Where are you located at?
I'm in Vancouver, Washington,
And
we are just outside of the Portland, Oregon area, right over the river. And I say that because a lot of people think Vancouver is Canada, and they don't know that there is a Vancouver in the United States.
Well, I was one of those. As soon as you said Vancouver, I went, I didn't know you was in Canada. So, all right. And broker, banker, and branch manager, loan officer. What do you do?
Branch manager and producing branch manager.
And we'll give a plug. Who do you work with? What's
Evergreen Home Loans.
Evergreen Home. Are they just in the Washington area? Are they throughout?
We're based out of Bellevue, Washington, but we encompass, several Western states, but we're also making our way across the country.
Nice. Well, it's you guys are welcome to come hang out here in Florida too, if you so desire. So, all right, cool. So Leslie's one of the leaders in our Freedom Club, and you gave a talk at our Freedom Club meeting in Tahoe, and I thought, man, what a great topic to help everybody with, because right now, boy, our team could definitely use some help, a little pickup per se. And we who was it? Our mutual dear friend Paul Dolan said something at that meeting that I just absolutely loved. And he said, Carl, this is a work year. Some years we can kind of chill a little bit, we can coast a little bit, business coming in. And some years, we gotta, as we say, stand up in the stirrups of that bicycle and pedal. And this is a work year. So having the team energized is a really good thing to do. And first, let's see what kind of, just as an FYI, Leslie, what kind of, like year to date, what kind of volume? So as we're recording this, by the way, we're recording this kind of mid-ish August. So I think I'm a couple episodes to be released before this one. So this probably comes out somewhere in September, I would guess. But up through August here, the middle of August, give or take, what's the volume of closed business you guys are at so far?
So year to date, we're just shy of $40 million.
All right, good for you. Nice number. So I know, I think nationwide loan officers are down like 30-40%, some 70 and 80%, I guess. Is that kind of are you holding firm to last year's numbers more or less?
We are tracking pretty good. We're not where we were last year. We ended last year at about 75 million, 75, 76. So, this year we're probably tracking around 60-ish. So, we're happy with that because percentage wise, we haven't dipped as much as a lot of folks, even though we were heavy in refinance like everybody was.
Yeah.
So, we feel blessed that we are still kind of holding.
Yeah, you very successfully pivoted to, what I would assume is primarily and I guess that's an assumption. Are you primarily purchase market right now?
Yeah, primarily. And, there's a few refis here and there, but not obviously like they used to be.
Yeah, same here. So, all right. So at our meeting, you talked about, I don't know what I would say, like how to keep your team motivated or something.
Well, I don't call it motivation. I call it inspire your team. And I think that's a little hindsight too. What I realized was trying to reward my team and show appreciation to my team, it was a kind of I don't want to say a side effect, but I saw how they were inspired to want to do more. And so to me, when you motivate people, you're trying to still pull them along. But when they're inspired, I felt they were pushing me along, or they were on board with me, and we were doing this together. So it was just a huge difference. So that's why I don't want to use the word motivate, because it wasn't about a motivation. It's about appreciation. And that kind of one thing led to another. I can't say it was in this big plan. It just kind of transpired since about mid 2019, when we started doing some things that were fun and rewarding, and just to show appreciation.
I think you're very, very wise in doing that. I have found over the years that when we can get our team to, God, it's more than just doing their job. It's like, it's wanting to win for the team. Like the whole team wants to win, and they take great pride in seeing, the volume you're at right now, 40 million so far in 7.5 months so far in the year, and you're at 40 million. And how can we get yet even more? And instead of, well, if I don't do this, I'm going to get fired. All right. That's the stick method, which, is not a cool way to operate in that way. And certainly as a recipient, nobody wants to get motivated by a stick every day. You'd rather be motivated by a carrot. So let's talk about a little bit. So you did a very clever thing on how to inspire your people. So what did that look like?
So it started back about April of 2019. We were getting busy. Our numbers were, growing and growing. And at the time I had my assistant, Tony, I said, hey, I want to do something to reward the team. I want to do something fun. You can always pay more bonus, give more money on a paycheck. But when you do that, it becomes their money. And then they're spending their money on themselves. And a lot of times they won't spend that money on things they love, because they don't feel either like they should, or the budget, or whatever. So she came back with a few ideas, and we settled on a shopping spree. And we kind of set our goal for that month at 6 million. And it was called Treat Yourself. And there was something she knew about, that she had heard, this treat yourself thing. So we came up with this shopping spree. And as if we hit 6 million, each member of the team would get $600, and they had 60 minutes to shop.
Okay, wait. Let me get this again. So if you hit 6 million for the year.
No, for the month.
Oh, that's what I meant. 6 million for the month.
Each would get each individual would get $600, and they had 60 minutes to spend it.
So you would go to the mall.
We went to the mall.
And was this like a work day or a Saturday, or?
It was a work day. We left a little early. And so it was incremental. It was an increment. So if we hit 6.2 million, they would have $620, and they'd have 62 minutes to shop. So, we put this out there. Everybody was excited, and we have our weekly team meetings, and, we're planning, and we're always making sure we close on time or early, and we're doing all this planning. But what I noticed during that month is they were having their own huddles, and they're like, okay, these little side meetings. And I was watching and the whispering, and they were all excited. And I started looking at the numbers about mid-month, and I was like, geez, we're going to go through 6 million, but we may hit 7. And that was a record for us at the time. So I said, okay, I brought everybody together. I said, if we hit 7 million, I'm going to raise it to $1,000 each. And, that would be a great milestone for us to hit. So it's 1,000 each. So now it was really, they were like, okay. And again, 7 million would be 70 minutes to spend that $1,000 in. So we get through the month, and I'm just watching. It's not about me saying we need to do the number. I would have liked to do the number, but it wasn't about, hey, I'm driving this goal. It was like, hey, if we get there, this is what we get to do. We get to go have fun, go to the mall, have the shopping spree, meet for happy hour after, and show our goods, so to speak. So we get to about the I want to say 26th, 27th of the month. And we hit our 7 million. And I'm like, this is great. And that was like on a Friday, I think it was, or towards the end of the week. And we get over the weekend and it's like, I think the end of the month that year was a Tuesday, and they pull in another loan for another 200,000. They're like, let's get this one in too. And I'm like, you guys, it's $1,000, whether we did 7 or we did 7.2. And they said, we wanted the extra 2 minutes. It was amazing. It was funny. And not only did they strategize to get this extra 200,000, pull it in from the, the next month, is they were pre-shopping at the mall. They went, the night before, and they're putting things on hold, and they're strategizing this whole thing. So we video everything. We created a video, and we meet back at the restaurant Cheesecake Factory there. And we all synchronized our timers on our phones. So everybody had to be back. And the rule was, if you didn't spend the whole 1,000, you had to give it back. And you had to spend it on yourself. It wasn't for your husband or your kids, or, not gift cards. This was for them to spend it on themselves. Mm-hmm. And my processor on the team, she was getting married a few months later. So she brought luggage and all this stuff for her honeymoon. And, everybody was like, where is she? It's about time. And she just comes back, and she's just like red-faced and just exhausted. And she's like, I just couldn't spend it all. She dumps like, I don't know, $12 or $15 out of her little coin purse on the table, because everybody had cash. And she's like, I couldn't spend it. So, and I said, well, here, take it to Target on the way home and get hangers for all those clothes. Yeah. But we sat at the table and everybody shared what they had purchased. It was just a lot of fun. And it was fun for me to just watch and enjoy them enjoy it. It was just, it filled me up to see them enjoy what they had accomplished. And kind of where this started for me was, I've always been a top producer with our company and in my career mostly. And we get rewarded with president's clubs, and we go to these 5-star resorts, and we go to these vacations, and we're always like, this person did this much. And, the unsung heroes are the people that work with us. And I don't say for us, I say alongside us and get us there. So if I leave and go on one of these trips, there was always this little, like, kind of feel a little bit guilty, because it's not all about me. It's about everybody. So this was kind of the beginning of, I want to do something for them. So we got through our shopping spree. Everybody was pumped and hyped, and that was so much fun. And it's like, I have Susan on my team, who she's really kind of has, she's a leadership gal. And she comes in, I think it was in about June. She says, so what do we need to do to go to get to New York City? And I was like, she's like, what do we have to do? And it was a joke. She was just playing and this and that. And it just started making me think. I'm like, well, what would that look like? So in 2019, we set a goal for 45 million. I think our best year was like 42 million at that point, was our top year as a team. So I said, okay, if we hit 45 million, we're all going to New York City. And again, I watched everybody want to work together, and they were saying, hey, can we do a call night? Can we call these people? What can we do? And so we just all planned together to do this. And end of the year, we hit almost 55 million.
Wow.
And we went through, and it's team only, no spouses. It's just us. And I realized it was such a great bonding experience just to spend several days together. So we took a red eye. We spent 4 days in New York City and did every site you can imagine, between Ground Zero, Statue of Liberty, all of that. But, today, hindsight, everybody talks, that was the most amazing trip. It was 2 weeks exactly before COVID hit. And it's like, New York City will never be the same. So it's a really great memory that we had. So of course we go into the next year, and we're in 2020, and it's like, okay, I don't know what this is even going to look like, because we had the refinances coming in. So we set a stretch goal of 75 million. And I think they kind of looked at me a little cross-eyed, but they did say, they said, well, next trip, and I don't do it at the beginning of the year. I kind of wait to mid-year to kind of see where we're at. You know, what does the year look like? Because I think it's unfair just to shoot a number out there. And so we kind of see where we're gauged, and I try to hit a stretch goal about mid-year. And they said, well, this time when we were in New York, it was 20 some odd degrees and we were in double coats and hats and gloves, and it was great. But they said, can we do something tropical? So we set this stretch goal of 75 million. And sure enough, we were coming to, I think in September, we were about 39 million. And everybody was exhausted. We've been in that first, year of all the refi, and everybody's exhausted, and we're doing our best to get these loans closed. And I said, I looked at the numbers, I looked where we are in the top 10. I said, hey, it's going to still be a stretch, but if we can be number 8 in the company, and I kind of added a little incentive there. I said, not only are we going to go to Maui, but we're all going to go first class. Mm. They left that meeting and they were like, okay, how are we going to get this done? And, it was up to them, if we went, and it was just the energy. And I titled my talk at Freedom Club, Appreciation That Ignites, because that's what I saw. I saw everybody ignite. And it wasn't about me. I'm going to go to President's Club, but it was about working together as a team, and we're all in it together. And so we get down to literally the last week in December, and we made our goal, and we all went first class. And it was, again, I enjoyed watching my team taking selfies in first class and doing this and posting on it was just fun for me to watch them enjoy their reward for their hard work. Yeah. To get us there. Because as you know, it's not a leader. If you're a leader, if you're alone, you lead nobody. Mm. And, and it's the team. So again, we had an amazing time, and we just grew closer. Every time we do these, we grow closer. And again, for 2021, we had the same goal. I said, I'm not going to up it. Let's just, if we can maintain, because we're all exhausted at this point. As we know, you couldn't hire enough people to fill everything. So everybody was working really hard. So we hit our goal again in 2021, and we did Hawaii again in March. And this time we went an extra day. We went 6 days, the whole team. We take not only my licensed loan partners, but processing. There's no person that's not appreciated. It's like, It's all of us. We're all in this together. Yeah, man, there's some really good stuff here. So I think, one thing, so back on the shopping, I think the idea of don't just give them a bonus in their paycheck, because, it gets all washed in with the finances at home, the electric bill, or the, put new brakes on the car or something like that. And it's just, it's not as impactful. Whereas you go to the mall and that purse you've been wanting to buy, or the shoes, or the whatever, maybe it's a hammer and drill set, like whatever it is, that it's exactly what they wanted is for them. And it gives them a chance to be, to focus on them. And that's hard to do sometimes. So I think that was really smart. And, and I think another thing that you've tapped into is, I remember, I think I was actually talking to my father. This is going back probably 20 years ago. And I was having a hard time getting my employees to buy in like I was bought in. And my father said, well, son, understand, nobody's going to love your baby as much as you do. And your friends will come up and go, oh, how cute, how adorable. But nobody's going to love your baby like you do. So it was kind of like, how dare you expect your employees to be all in for your company like you are? And you tapped into a very clever way to get them fired up.
so that it's kind of there. And it is, you and I both know it's their baby too, but you found a very clever way to do it. All right. So I got a couple questions. I love the way you're doing this. Like, so you went from shopping to New York to Maui and back to Hawaii for a little bit longer. Very clever thing. And I love the way that you said that the team would huddle and come up with ideas, some with your involvement, I would suppose, but sounds like some of it without your involvement. They're working on themselves of how can we get this so we can do this trip. Like, what's some of the things your employees or your team, what's some of the things your team could do to grow your business? Like what are they doing to help bring in yet even more loans?
One of the main things that we were doing initially for the New York, we carried that through, was just call nights, outbound calls. And
Who you calling?
we're calling the refis, we were calling our database mostly. That was like our clients that we had in the pipeline. I didn't care who they called. It was like they said, can we get a list out of our CRM? And they're asking me first. So even our unlicensed folks, one of my processors, she was like, I'll call. And so she would call and introduce herself as part of the team. And if somebody was interested, she's, let me get you to somebody. So you don't have to be licensed to make these calls. You just need to touch base. So the calling was huge. And that was kind of our big driver. The last year, I want to say we were just a little more reactive, and it was more about managing our pipeline efficiently to get those loans closed. Because you know how long it would take to get an appraisal, and then your docs, and then everything took longer through underwriting. So it that year in 2020 into 2020 and even 2021 was about the manufacturing of the loan. Mm-hmm. How can we be more efficient and manage our timelines? Because we needed to make sure those loans closed, because you know how that goes. People were pushing loans off because they didn't have the capacity to close. So I have to commend my team, is that they became more efficient. So it wasn't just about getting the loans in, but it was getting them closed on time. So we can, like I said, in 2020, we had to make sure we had every loan closed in 2020 by December 31st to get that number. If it rolled, we would have, I want to say it was 2 loans and $800,000 that we wouldn't have gotten that first class. Mm. And so every loan counted, and they were working on making sure CDs were out early and things were signed. So it's a combination depending on what year we were in as far as what they did. But again, it wasn't necessarily me saying, hey, we have to do this. They knew what to do. They knew how we should get business in the door. They knew how we needed to get it funded so we could meet those numbers. And I have to give them the credit for that.
Yeah. 100%. And, I tell you something else you did that I liked is you set this 75 million, what you called a stretch goal. It never ceases to amaze me. I'm kind of a conservative person by nature and just the way that I think. And I'm not much one into, the name it and you can claim it, kind of thing, or think of it and it just appears, it happens. I think what happens is we give our brain a problem, and then in the background, the brain is just constantly working, trying to solve that problem, even on our subconscious level. And then up pops ideas from time to time that the brain, it's without you thinking about it, it's working in the background. And when you give your brain that 75 million stretch goal, like you're all constantly just thinking in the background, how can we make this happen? How can we make this happen? How can we make this happen? It reminds me of Jim Carrey tells this famous story, the comedian and actor Jim Carrey tells this famous story where I think he was just barely getting by, making a few gigs, at stand-up comedy thing. And he wrote himself a check for $10 million. And it was for acting services rendered. And he put it in his wallet, carried everywhere he went. And every now and then he'd pull it out and look at it. And every now and then he'd look at it. And if I remember the story right that he tells, it was like 3 years to the month, he got a $10 million contract. I think it was for Mask. I think that was his first, whatever his first movie was.
I remember that, yeah.
I think it was Mask. That it was 3 years, like literally to the month, that he got a gig. And I don't think it's an accident that it was for $10 million. So it was the exact amount that he wrote his check out for. And that's kind of what you did here too, Leslie, is you wrote yourself a check out for, $75 million worth of production. And by golly, you pulled it off. And just another quick story this reminds me of is I've got a few years on you, but I remember Dan Marino, famous quarterback for the Miami Dolphins back in the what I guess early 80s, I guess, ran these commercials where every year he would give away isotoner gloves to his linemen that were protecting him.
Mm-hmm.
And the tagline on it was, "Take care of the hands that take care of you." And that's exactly what you're doing, my friend. It's good for business. It's good for them to make them feel good about themselves because they claim a win, and they get to go have fun in the process. And the clients, they win too because they work more efficiently. It's good for your referral partners that you make sure everything closes. So it gives the referral partners their paycheck. They want to refer you more. And it's just this spiral upwards, like the stairway to heaven kind of thing. So very, very clever.
I want to also, I'll add, we're on this, we have this momentum going as a team, but don't think that there weren't days where one person was down or, we're exhausted and processing, everything kind of, I always say it's a funnel, everything kind of dumps on them and it's, it comes through. But, I had one gal on my team when I put the stretch goal out for 2021, she had said something, she's like, I was kind of mad at you. And, like, really, again, I think was, I don't know if those exact words, but it was just kind of like, really? She's, I think she was just tired, kind of thing. But we lift each other up and, we're encouraging each other. And so somebody's having a down day or something didn't, or feeling discouraged, we may not get there, but there's somebody else on the team that's like, yeah, we can do it. And, we just had our weekly pipeline meeting this morning and, the industry, what's happening in the industry, huge layoffs, companies are closing. So it's kind of got this negative, feel in our industry and things are retracting in a lot of areas. And I said, we're going on a trip again this year. Don't think we're not. We have to remember 2020 and 21 were historical, huge years. But we're still going to have a great year for, and so don't feel like, oh, the party's over. And so, that's kind of what we're working on. I joke with them. I said, we might go to Lancaster, California, and dig out a pool for ourselves or what, and they giggled, but it was like, no, what do we want to do? Because I'm looking at our year and it's like, we're doing pretty darn good in a market still that we could be down a lot more. But we're going to take what we have with gratitude and again, work together and wherever we end up, it's going to be good. And we're going to celebrate. It's another win.
Really good stuff, Leslie. I really like the way you guys just laid out. How many people are on your team, by the way?
I have 3 loan partners licensed and my processor. My other processor is now processing for another team, but he is, still part of the team, even though he's not actively processing. He's on our pipeline meetings and he can't wait to get back involved. So, we're still keeping everybody busy. Like I said, we're not as busy as we used to be, but we are still plugging away and keeping things moving.
Very good. Hey, one question, and if you hear a little rumbling in the background, so I'm located here in the Tampa Bay area, and we actually have a thunderstorm going on, which pretty much every afternoon for 30 minutes, that's what it does around here. So if you hear a little rumbling, it's not my stomach, it's the it's the thunder going in the background. Like what if used to just a slight pivot here, if you used to say, if I was to ask you, Leslie, what's the one single activity you do that generates most of your business? For you, no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious what it is. For you, what is that thing?
It's keeping our name out there, being top of mind.
How do you do that?
Well, I have to say it's changing. And for me, I'm digging deeper with video and different things. And I've always done a monthly realtor lunch. I call it the lunch bunch, kind of like a, the realtors do brokers opens. It's not a
Mhm.
lunch and learn. It's not about loans. It's just, hey, let's come eat and let's visit. So I just try to do things that keep us in front of our realtor partners
Yeah.
and also the database. I've been very consistent over the years as far as marketing my database. And it's just, I think, staying top of mind. And I think what people need to realize as an originator in this business is back in 2010, 11, 12, when the industry really had issues, so many loan officers were running for the hills. They stopped spending money on their marketing. They were pulling back, and they were out of sight, out of mind. And again, it was a hindsight for me. I just dug in and I kept doing my marketing, kept doing the same thing. So I was just always out there. So it wasn't, I can't say it was this master plan. Sometimes you look in the rearview mirror and realize you did something right.
Mhm.
So, it's the same thing now. It's like we need, as loan officers, we need to, even though the markets may be pulling back and your company may be pulling back on paying for things or whatever that looks like for your company or the support that you might get, this is the time to pull out of your pocket and make those investments. Because if you want to be long-term in this business, you need to invest in yourself on whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're going to go away. So for me, it's about just staying top of mind out there and being available. And also bringing strategies out to real estate agents in the market, because the real estate agents out there, their worlds are changing as well. So what value can we add as loan officers to help them in their business? Of course, they want leads, which we don't have a ton in the way our model is to do that. But what can I do to add value to help them through the maybe might be a rougher year for them?
Yeah. And I guess, so we do provide leads. We just do it in a different way. We don't buy Zillow leads, of course, because, nobody wants to work those anyway.
Mhm.
But like leads from your past database, referring them back to them,
Right.
leads from your update calls that you do on Tuesday and asking for more business, refer them back. So cool. Leslie, I tell you, this has just been an absolute, this has been a fantastic conversation. I literally have, I literally, and I saw you do this at the Freedom Club, but I literally got a page of notes here that I've been taking. Absolutely brilliantly done, and just a fantastic culture you have in your business, and man, well done. I don't know. I don't have a better way of saying it. Just very, very well done, my friend. I'm just super proud of what you've accomplished here, and doing it without shaking a stick at your team. It's a huge carrot thing instead. So love what you're doing. Love you. Just spectacular way to do business. So it's an
Thank you.
honor
Appreciate that.
to be a part of your world. So cool. Anything I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I think that covers it. I think it's just you got to love on your people. That's all I have to say. And don't doubt that goes a long way. And it's a sincere thing. And your folks will know if it is or it isn't.
Yeah, very good. All right, cool. All right, that's all we got for today. So Leslie Girard, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and appreciate you guys. And we'll see you on the next episode of Loan Officer Freedom. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.